New at 4, Tucson Mayor Jonathan Rothschild delivering his State of the City address today. He touched on a variety of topics, including the economy, school safety, and the city's transit system. Back, I'm Scott Kilbury. New details on a series of explosions rocking Mexico's northern city of Monterrey. We have some late-breaking news just received here at KOLD News 13, which we have just confirmed that the family of murdered Border Patrol agent Brian Terry is suing the federal government. Another late-breaking story, a busy Midtown intersection is shut down while the SWAT team has a house surrounded. See, it's one of 12 states in the entire nation where a lender cannot pursue the borrower if he suddenly decides to walk away from his mortgage. What is for dinner? We all have that moment when we're standing in the kitchen wondering, what can we make? Well, the key is to have a smart pantry. This will help kickstart your morning for you. We're checking out what's making headlines in your area. Our Simon desk editor gets upset when we read his newspaper, so we can't read that one. But we're going to check out the Green Valley newspaper.
The close, it's amazing they can get those pictures. She's smiling. I can't believe that.
I don't think she has a choice. It's the wind, just, making her go like that. It's 5:15.
And I heard about the pitching requirement, and I think I'm out.
Well, just practice. Let's see.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to
Get him
do
off the screen.
From this time next year, with Activate Tucson, well, they hope to have at least 200 schools that can really pack a punch. I'm Scott Kilbury. Well, they're close, but not quite close enough to meet tonight's deadline. That's the latest word about discussions on Capitol Hill about the so-called fiscal cliff.
Yes, today the White
35,000 Arizonans have lost their unemployment benefits because Congress and the president have not reached a deal. The lack of deal cuts off the extended benefits for the long-term unemployed. KOLD News 13's Bud Foster spoke with those right in our own community that are affected by this. He joins us now live with more. Bud. Authorities say a small plane crash landed today near Chandler Municipal Airport, but all 4 people on board escaped injury.
How do we celebrate here at KOLD News 13 for New Year's?
Woohoo! Happy New Year! It's arrived, right? It's 2013. Right. Oh, in just a few hours. That's when it's coming. My math was off and the timing was as well.
But it still feels good, doesn't it?
It sure
Ripping up scripts and throwing them at each other. That's what we do.
Yeah.
So exciting. Can't wait.
I can't eat. We're going to have some cleaning up to do, but then we'll celebrate all over again.
We'll get our little brooms out.
Yeah.
Your little desk brooms.
Well, they're not exactly celebrating some NFL teams. Getting fired, not only right before the new year, but happening in the public eye.
This is KOLD News 13 Live.
Happening now on KOLD News 13 Live this morning. Details on a new campaign to equip firefighters with a life-saving tool.
Well, that plus a solar company highlighted by President Obama's Going Dark.
And America's safest cities for drivers just released. We'll see where Tucson ranks. Should be interesting. Good morning. I'm Scott Kilbury.
And I'm Kayna Whitworth, and we're so glad you could join us this morning. Aaron Jordan is back. Aaron, well, you've been away. It's been so hot.
It's been very hot in southern Arizona, day after day of record highs.
Yeah, I think you saw it coming. You didn't want to be associated with this.
Well,
The monument fire has brought an increased threat for flash flooding in the Huachuca Mountains, but a new technology hopes to provide better alerts. Aaron Jordan joins us now with some details. Important tool. Thank you, Aaron. Well, new this morning, Maricopa County has changed zoning rules to keep medical marijuana dispensaries or cultivation sites off county land unless marijuana becomes a federally approved drug. New this morning, Allstate Insurance just released their annual Best Drivers Reports. This year's top honor of America's safest driving city is Fort Collins, Colorado. This is actually the second year in a row that Fort Collins has taken the top spot. Washington, D.C. drove into last place for the 3rd year in a row. Now, Kayna is from Colorado. Since she has left, it has become a safer driving city. Now that she's in Tucson, those numbers might change.
Is in the evidence room, and Scott's biggest concern now is if they were new or used underwear. We don't know the answer at this hour.
Because
Scott, go get your underwear.
Instead of the evidence room should be the laundry room. It all depends. And with a 6-ton trailer crushing his foot, a Colorado logger decided he'd only get out alive if he cut off his toes. John Hutt wasn't sure he had any other choice. Hutt was alone in a remote forest when a 6-ton trailer attached to his truck slipped. After about 30 minutes, he reached for his small pocket knife. And you remember this next story, that's another what would you do story, that one we just saw there. This other story you might remember, the Minnesota boy that made a miracle shot at a hockey game for $50,000. Well, he's not getting the money. They decided 11-year-old Nate Smith hit the puck through a tiny hole 89 feet away during a charity hockey game last month. But it was Nate's identical twin, Nick, whose raffle ticket won the chance to take the shot. The family told organizers the next day about the swap. The boys are disappointed but excited youth hockey will benefit. So I'm sure the kids are excited because they get to write that off in their taxes.
Right, they're stoked about that. Back to the tow guy. So you were mentioning the movie 127 Hours or whatever, and this guy's like 30 minutes.
Is that right,
half
Steve?
an hour.
Was it 127 hours? That was okay.
So in half an hour, he's like half an hour. 30
Half an hour's long enough.
That's all I got.
I don't know if I would have done it. I would have waited at least 100 more hours. So.
30 minutes later.
KOLD News 13 time now is 5:17.
They've been the focus of the housing crisis. Foreclosure signs, it seems more and more are popping up in our neighborhoods. In fact, the state ranks 4th in the nation when it comes to homes that owners could no longer afford. That's why University of Arizona Law professor Brent White is surprised we have not seen even more people deliberately walking away from their mortgages.
And I'm an advocate that people walk away from their homes, but I was puzzled. And if these people were acting in their economic self-interest, you would expect that they would, in pretty large numbers, walk away from their mortgages. But you don't see that happening, and so to me it was a puzzle.
White is in the center of a debate after publishing his paper, Underwater and Not Walking Away.
And what I found is that the government and lenders cultivate emotional constraints. They cultivate fear and shame and guilt to keep people from walking away from their mortgages.
Now, most homeowners agree they have a responsibility to pay their mortgage, but they're not legally obligated to do so, at least here in Arizona. See, it's one of 12 states in the entire nation where a lender cannot pursue the borrower if he suddenly decides to walk away from his mortgage.
Part of the reason the mess that we're in right now is because so many people went, yeah, there you go, because they didn't care.
Dan Wybar has encountered his share of strategic foreclosures and says he'd be hesitant to approve a loan for someone with that kind of history.
So who is that affecting? Not only you and your credit, but it's also affecting the next guy that comes into my office.
The Making Homes Affordable program was designed to help homeowners stay in their homes by decreasing the amount of a monthly payment. But of the 15 million Americans who are underwater, only 5 mortgages were changed by decreasing the principal of the loan.
And so we either have to encourage borrowers to act just like lenders, or we have to make lenders act more like borrowers and take on some more responsibility, which means forcing them to write down the mortgages.
During a typical summer Saturday morning drive, the scenes you can find as yard sale or garage sale in nearly every other neighborhood. Simply follow the signs. But I was looking for a particular piece of property.
Are you guys selling any guns at your garage sale?
No. After some legwork, I found what I was looking for at this east side garage sale.
Brand new, never been fired.
A couple of rifles. Anyone could buy them if they had the cash.
This is what the Navy SEALs used to use for their tactical weapons.
No background check, no registration required, meaning anyone could buy, even a convicted criminal or suspected drug cartel member.
Well, if an individual is having a garage sale, he certainly is no obligation that he has to ask for identification or conduct a background investigation. It is what it is, a private sale.
Forever.
Daryl Murray is a retired DPS officer who makes a little extra cash on the side as a private gun dealer. He has his own bill of sale form to use after he sells a gun.
Folks on their own, mostly responsible gun owners, are drawing up forms that when they buy a gun from somebody, they get the serial number of the gun, how much they paid for it, the driver's license, the name and address of the person they bought the firearm for, and the date that they purchased it.
He and other dealers saw a spike in gun sales after Barack Obama was elected president in 2008. He also saw a similar boost after the Tucson shooting 6 months ago.
They tend to do that when they think that there may be legislation outlawing or hindering the purchase of firearms.
But no additional laws have been put in place. Mayors Against Illegal Guns endorsed legislation to improve background checks on those trying to buy a gun.
Buy guns anonymously.
Earlier this year, the group, led by New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, commissioned a sting operation at a Phoenix gun show.
No background check?
No.
That's good, because I probably couldn't pass it, you know what I mean?
It showed the holes in the federal background check system. If a gun shows up at a crime scene, it can be traced back to the last registered user. So authorities are suggesting that it's in the best interest of the seller to have that gun registered to the new owner. But some want to avoid registering a gun, thinking the government will take notice of their purchases.
Address CDL.
That's what makes private sales more attractive to them.
Certainly selling them in a garage sale or putting ads in a newspaper, again, is within their right to do so.
They have like a little gun.
This man bought his gun from a private party, but intends to resell it at a garage sale simply for the cash.
Well, yeah, if I took it to a dealer or a pawn shop, I'd be lucky to get $35, $50 for it. Where at a yard sale, I know I can get $150 for it easily.
Back to that garage sale. A deal was made for this shotgun. No background check, but no cash either. He decided to trade for another gun. Steve Kimball spends most of his day in his metal art studio making sculptures.
We'll get you some good sparks here.
But he's also a lawyer and an inventor. In fact, he sparked quite a bit of controversy with an invention he created with his son over a decade ago.
Every night when he went to bed, we would read Spider-Man comic books. And so we said, you know, wouldn't it be cool if you could actually make a toy that would allow you to be Spider-Man?
Peter lives with his aunt and uncle.
Working together, they designed the web slinger.
This is the brand new version, so I got to figure out how to operate this one.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man. He got it patented, then took his idea to Marvel Comics in New York City.
I said, you know, that seems very interesting. I'll talk with our people and we'll get back to you. Finally got a letter back from them saying, nice, but no, we're not gonna pursue it right now.
Kimball thought the idea was a closed chapter until a friend told him he saw his web blaster in the store.
Webs, water, and missiles, now all in one.
So I go down to Toys R Us, and there they are, selling my exact toy. So we ended up having to sue them.
First, Marvel denied even knowing him, so he produced his signed rejection letter. Kimball had to fight for at least another year, and finally the case went to court.
They brought a life-size Spider-Man into the courtroom. I got up and grabbed their Spider-Man and dragged him back over to my table and said, Spider-Man believes in fairness and right, and he doesn't belong over there. He belongs over here. He belongs at this table with me.
The jury ruled in Kimball's favor.
The jury awarded us 3.5% of all the sales, past, present, future.
A year later, after the ruling, Marvel tried to get out of payments as the case headed to the Court of Appeals, but a settlement was reached. Since Steve got the patent to the web blaster, Marvel has changed the design several times over the years, but he's still entitled to royalties because the idea is basically the same.
Their position was, every time they changed it, it was different from what I presented to them, so they didn't have to pay if they changed it at all. But the jury, when we tried the case, said, nope, if you use the idea, you got to pay.
The settlement actually came before the first Spider-Man movie in 2001. Spidey is on his 4th run at the big screen. Kimball is hoping for some more amazing returns.
I like when a new Spider-Man movie comes out because that usually means that they're going to be selling more of the Spider-Man web blasters.
You'll find a Spider-Man.
Hey, Ace, what's going on? How you doing? Getting ready for that big game tonight?
Yes, sir.
Well, it's Mountain View and Tucson Heights, a rivalry. Anything can happen. But then again, it's the Lions and they're carnivores, and the Badgers are kind of rodents.
You saying the Badgers are going to lose tonight?
I was just saying.
Mountain Lions?
No, it's
My gal went to Tucson Heights.
Not the personal.
Real personal, mister. Get up, boy. Get up. Get, boy, get. Woo-hoo! Scott! Please don't shoot anymore, Scott. Are you okay?
I'm not doing so good right now.
Why don't you shoot him back?
Well, I got a gun, but I ain't got no good bullets.
You don't need a gun. You got your footballs. Sweetie?
Oh, I knew you'd come through, honey. Give me these things.
Oh, Scott, you're my hero.
Thanks. The good guy always gets the pretty girl. Or whatever's left. No time for that. It's overtime.
Supposed to mean.